Hello and welcome back to another video. So one of the questions I've received is, what do you do with your fleeting notes once you've converted them into your literature and your permanent notes when using the zettelkasten method? Well, one of the ways of thinking about it is that your fleeting notes are the original inspiration, the original ideas. And if you were in a physical note-taking system, you would have to be making a hard decision about whether to keep them stored somewhere physically or throw them out. Now, when you're in a digital note-taking system, it's really easy to archive things off and have them there but not really need them anymore. So you can make a decision, but what I want to talk about is traceability and auditing how you came to your ideas. So one of the other questions I've had is, how do you make references to the notes that you're creating in your permanent notes and feeding that back all the way to where you read it from? So the way I would approach this is making sure that you have a different perspective in your software of your fleeting notes, your literature notes, and your permanent notes. In other words, you don't want everything cluttering it up. And that's why having some note-taking app that allows you to organize these is really important. But when you create a permanent note, you're going to be creating that from some kind of fleeting note or a literature note, depending on the workflow that you've arrived at. So, for example, I may have read a book and I may have decided to convert that into a literature note, which is my own words to form that understanding of that note, and then I want to convert that to a permanent note. Or I might have a fleeting note, which could be an idea that I've had on my own, and just take that straight into my permanent notes. So it could be linking two things together. That's an original idea that I've got. There's no literature note needed in that case. So the source of your permanent notes will be your literature notes and your fleeting notes. And when I have that source, when I'm bringing it in, I might want to just reference it. So using the software, I can use the bi-directional linking to the literature note or the fleeting note. And then of course, if I'm creating literature notes based on those fleeting notes, I have again that bi-directional linking. And if my fleeting note is quite long, I can link into the sections on that fleeting note if I wish. So I'm not looking at the entire note. I'm looking at, maybe 2/3 of the way down, because maybe I was reading a book and I brought lots of notes across. So that's how I would approach it. And then those fleeting notes, they can either just sit there and as long as they're timestamped, they're not the most recent things, or you could actually archive them off. As long as your references don't produce dead links, I think that's really important. The really valuable thing here is that you might find at some point in your knowledge journey that you discover something new that contradicts an existing note or puts into question, did I really understand this? And it's those references back to the original fleeting note, back to understanding, oh, is this YouTube video, or is this book, or is this chapter that you read? And then when you read that, you might find that you misunderstood it, or you might find that actually this author has a very different take on it, and I now have a contradictory kind of message here. I've learned something new and it doesn't agree with what I knew before. Someone's obviously, there's some mismatch here, and that's the whole point of this is that we're taking in different sources of information. They may disagree, and that's perfectly fine. It's up to us to form more research and understanding around it to help resolve those disagreements. But if I just discarded those fleeting notes, then I wouldn't be able to do that, and I'd be left with these notes that I have to trust, but I can't really fully justify how I came to that understanding because I detached that connection there. So personally, I would keep the fleeting notes around, just archive them off. They don't need to be perfect. They're messy. They're quick notes. As long as they're archived off and I can go back to it to rebuild those links so I can confirm my understanding, that's the main purpose there. So I hope this video has been useful, and if you want to learn more about the zettelkasten method, note-taking methods, productivity, and follow along the journey of me building my own note-taking app, then do consider subscribing. And if you did like this video, a thumbs up would be super appreciated, and catch you in the next one.